For the past few days, I've been trying to do this thing where I do one socially uncomfortable thing every single day. Yesterday, after my business class, I spoke to my teacher about this new concept that I discovered. And it was basically how a long time ago in the feudal system, when the working class people stored enough grain, they didn't really have to work for the rest of the year because they had enough food for themselves, their families, and a bit of extra, right? And the concept that I brought up to him was about how sometimes a landlord, since they want more production from their people, they would burn down the grain reserves and force the people to work harder and make more profit for him. Now, I'm explaining it very simply here, but I explained it to a bit more detail to the teacher. And one thing that I found out was when I was explaining to the teacher, I was doing so well. Like, I was in front of the class, I was so confident, and I was standing in near the whiteboard, and I was like, okay, today I'm going to explain to you about this system and blah blah blah. And I really enjoyed it as well. Today morning, when going to school, I actually had my second uncomfortable social interaction. So basically, I was going to school and I see this person sitting all alone, and he had a broken leg and some crutches. And I was speaking to him about like how he broke his leg, what he's doing now, and it was a nice conversation. And I moved on after that. But I just had football training, which I came back from. And when I was having my football training, I was doing like 1v1s with the wingers of my team. And they were doing pretty well, but I noticed this one guy, the first guy that I was doing 1v1s with, he wouldn't really try to use skill moves. He would just try to maybe just pace abuse. And I told him, hey mate, you should really try some skill moves. And he took that advice on board. He tried a few step overs. They weren't the perfect. They weren't really that good. But I could see he was trying, and I was like, man, you're getting better. Like, keep it up. And I said it a bit better than I'm saying it right now, but I think he really appreciated it because I saw him later on in the day, like later on in the training session, and he was doing more like skill moves. And I think he was getting the hang of it. And after that, I moved in with some other wingers. This time I was facing two. And it was a pretty similar story as them as well. So they were telling me I was doing a really good job of my jockeying. And because they were right-footed and playing on the right side, I tried to push them to like the other side. It's kind of confusing to explain. But I tried to push them to the weak side, like just jockeying them. And they were saying I was doing a good job because it made it harder for them to cross. And then I really appreciated that. But also I gave them advice. Like I noticed one of them, they were doing the skill moves a bit too late, and that allowed me to get the ball off them a bit easily. So I was telling them all sorts of advice, and we had a great interaction. I feel like giving people compliments and advice really helps them grow and also makes them feel good. But also it helps you grow because after you give a compliment, you feel so good. And that way you're so much more likely to receive a compliment as well. For example, if you have this one friend who always says good morning to you every time he sees you in this certain class, over time, you will also start to say good morning to him. So that's the psychology I went off today. Another thing that happened today that made me feel really proud of myself was yesterday I had this tutoring session, basically, and I gave them like some of the classwork problems and I asked them to teach it to me. And after I understood it, today we were doing the same thing in class, and it was a group activity, and I was helping my mates with it and I was teaching them, and I just felt so proud of myself just because I was able to help someone learn it. And I think I made like a great impact, and I think I explained it to all of them really well. So helping people is great. Today, after I got home from school, I just felt so tired, and I just laid in my bed and watched like maybe 20 minutes of YouTube shorts. And after that, I had like half a can of Pringles and like 30 milliliters of aloe vera. And I was just really like kind of upset at myself for having this. And then I was thinking to myself, it's not like I'm fighting someone that I have to get angry about it. It's just, in life, it's just me versus me, right? So I was like, okay, you know what? I forgive myself for having these snacks. And when I just left for football training, I was on my bike and I just saw the trees and like the sunset. I just felt so peaceful, and like, why did I waste so much time on my screen if I could have been outside here the whole time. And genuinely, just like 5 minutes of just riding my bike gave me so much more enjoyment than eating the unhealthy food and like the hour that I spent listening to music on the bus and the other like 20 minutes I spent on YouTube Shorts. Genuinely. So I'm definitely gonna try to spend more time outside and more time creating stuff, especially like art and music. That's something I want to get into. Also, at school, we have a thing called set planning. And it's this thing where teachers, it's an interview with your parents, you, and a teacher. And you're basically saying what you want to do in the future and what pathways you want to go down. And a lot of people said, okay, I want to be a criminal lawyer, criminologist, a lot of things related to crime. But again, a lot of people said they want to be pilots, aviation stuff, and, big jobs, doctors. But me, I wrote my number one option as influencer and content creator, just because I know I could reach so many people and inspire so many people. Second thing I wrote was artist, just because I really want to make art, where it can be in any shape or form, music, painting, anything. I'd love that all. And then the third thing I wrote prime minister for the first one, because I know it's super unrealistic, but like it shows the type of person that I want to be. And second thing that I wrote was farmer. So I changed prime minister for farmer, just because I'm pretty sure like we might be facing like, I don't know, food epidemic. There might not be enough food for everyone. And right now, even in the world, there still isn't. So if I was able to grow food, which I like taking care of my garden, if I could just do that and like feed people, that'd also be pretty nice. And also I get to be surrounded by nature. But yeah, that's it for today. Day 99. Wait, no, 98.